The void of space was silent, except for the gentle hum of the USS Vanguard's engines as it slipped through the dark sector known as the Void Expanse. A place few dared explore, where star charts grew hazy, and the familiar laws of physics seemed to bend just enough to unnerve seasoned navigators. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the bridge, arms crossed, eyes fixed on the flickering console displaying the latest anomaly detected by their long-range sensors. The signal had arrived 6 hours ago, a faint, patterned distress call bouncing off an uncharted star system deep within the expanse. It was unlike any transmission logged in the Galactic Council's vast databases. What made it even more intriguing, the signal was encoded in a strange hybrid of human and alien technology, almost as if the message were crafted for humans to find. Elena's brow furrowed. Status report. Lieutenant Aisha Karim, tactical officer and no-nonsense realist, glanced up from her station. Signal remains stable. It repeats every 22 minutes. Origin coordinates put it inside the debris field around the abandoned Altair station. Altair station. Elena echoed, curiosity mixed with caution. That system was lost over a century ago during the First Void War. Officially declared destroyed. No survivors. Nothing but wreckage. Dr. Milo Chen, the ship's xenolinguist and linguistics prodigy, perked up from the comms deck. That's exactly why this is so fascinating. The signal has layers like a puzzle. Part of it is human tech, definitely old Earth-style encryption, but there are additional patterns like alien biosignatures embedded in the code. Someone or something wanted this signal to be found by humans. Aisha shot Milo a skeptical glance. Or it's a trap. Elena's jaw tightened. We don't have much choice. The Council wants an investigation. If it's a distress call, ignoring it could cost lives. A cold calm settled over the crew as the Vanguard altered course toward the Altair system. They were 5 days away, passing through spatial distortions that played tricks on sensors, challenging even their advanced AI. The approach to Altair Station was surreal. The ruins of the station loomed in orbit around a dead star, its twisted metal skeleton half buried in swirling cosmic dust. Ancient spacecraft hulls drifted, silently locked in a ghostly ballet of decay. The bridge fell silent as the signal strengthened, repeating its cryptic pattern. Milo's fingers danced over the console, trying to untangle the threads of alien code layered beneath the human signal. "This is no ordinary distress beacon," he murmured. "It's almost like a message inside a message, warning and invitation rolled into one." Suddenly, a low rumble shook the Vanguard. The ship's AI flared warnings, unknown energy spikes emanating from the station. "Shields up. Helm maintain distance," Elena ordered, voice steady but tense. "Captain, the station systems are activating. We're detecting power surges, organic mechanical hybrids, unlike any tech we've catalogued," Milo reported, eyes wide behind his glasses. Aisha's fingers hovered over weapons controls. "That can't be good." As the Vanguard sent an exploration drone toward the station, the distress signal shifted, an eerie modulation overlaying the transmission, almost like a digital heartbeat. The drone's cameras revealed corridors covered in an alien script, walls pulsating with bioluminescent veins that throbbed in eerie rhythm. "Looks like a living structure," Milo whispered, excitement and unease blending in his tone. "This civilization. They fused biology with machinery. A true tech-organic symbiosis." "Scan for life signs," Elena ordered. No signs of life. Yet something felt wrong. The station seemed to watch them, every sensor reading flickering as if alive. "Captain, we have a secondary transmission embedded beneath the main distress call," Milo said, eyes glued to the decrypting sequences. "It says, 'Do not trust the Guardians.'" Lena froze. The Guardians were a legendary species, galaxy-wide peacekeepers who wielded immense power and strict control over interstellar politics. They were revered and feared. "Explain," Aisha demanded. "They were supposed to be the galaxy's protectors. But some factions believe they've become tyrants, enforcing order by crushing dissent, even committing atrocities under the guise of galactic stability. This message is a warning. Someone trapped here feared the Guardians. Elena's mind raced. Could the distress call be a trap to lure someone into a snare? Or a desperate plea for help from victims of the Guardians? She made the call. "Prepare boarding party. We're going in." The airlock hissed open, and the team stepped into the station's dim, bio-lit corridors. The atmosphere was thick with eerie silence, broken only by the faint pulse of the living walls. Aisha scanned the surroundings, weapon ready, while Milo examined alien inscriptions glowing softly under his touch. This was a place of knowledge and sanctuary, but something went terribly wrong. Signs of struggle scarred the floors. Scorch marks, broken equipment, and strange symbols painted in what looked like blood. Suddenly, a series of holographic images flickered to life, ghostly echoes of the station's last moments. The crew watched scenes of chaos, alarms blaring, alien voices screaming warnings, then an explosion of light engulfing everything. Elena's voice was a low growl. Whatever happened here was catastrophic. Milo's fingers trembled as he pieced together a phrase from the holograms. "They came for us. The Guardians came." Aisha's eyes narrowed. So the Guardians might be behind this. Or worse, something they unleashed. As they ventured deeper, the station's systems reacted violently. The living walls shifted, closing passageways, forcing the crew to improvise. "Looks like the station's alive and doesn't want us here," Milo said, trying to override the security. Elena smiled grimly, eyes sparkling with that unmistakable human stubbornness. "Good. We're not exactly easy to scare." After hours of tense exploration, the Vanguard crew reached the station's core chamber. There, at the heart of the living machine, they found a terminal broadcasting the distress signal, powered by a dying life form fused with the station itself, trapped between life and machine. The creature's voice crackled through the comms, distorted but filled with desperation. "If you hear this, beware the Guardians. We were wrong to trust them. They imprison those who defy. We sought peace but found war. Help us." The message ended abruptly. Elena closed her eyes briefly, feeling the weight of responsibility crush down on her. This was no routine rescue. This was a call for justice, a challenge to the galaxy's power structure. "We bring light where there is darkness," she said quietly. "We will find the truth. We will survive." As the Vanguard prepared to leave the station, an alert blared suddenly. Unidentified ships approaching rapidly. Long-range scans revealed a fleet in the distance, the Guardians. Elena's grin was fierce. So, the party's just getting started. Emotional and thematic beats. This chapter blends awe and tension. The mystery of the signal and the haunted ruins awaken wonder and fear. Human traits shine. Elena's leadership, Aisha's readiness to fight, and Milo's insatiable curiosity. The theme of defiance against an oppressive power begins to stir, alongside the classic HFY spirit of human courage and ingenuity facing the unknown. The unknown Guardians loom as both threat and mystery, setting the stage for cultural and philosophical clashes. World-building elements. The void expanse is a forbidding frontier with strange physics. Alien tech is biomechanical, suggesting deep integration of biology and technology. The Guardians represent authoritarian control over the galaxy, with a reputation that precedes them. Human ships emphasize modular adaptability and AI support, showcasing ingenuity. Would you like me to continue with Chapter 2 next, or develop specific scenes or character interactions from this chapter? The USS Vanguard's alert klaxons blared, shattering the tense silence that had settled over the bridge. Captain Elena Reyes snapped to attention, eyes narrowing at the sensors flashing urgent red. "Report," she barked. Lieutenant Aisha Karim's fingers flew across the tactical console. Multiple contacts emerging at high velocity. Long-range scans identify them as Guardian warships. Fleet formation consistent with standard patrols, and they're heading straight for us. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. The Guardians, mythic enforcers of galactic order, feared across countless star systems, had arrived. And fast. Elena's jaw tightened. How many? Approximately 30 vessels. Weapons primed. They've initiated an active interdiction field around Altair Station. They want us to stand down. Dr. Milo Chen leaned forward, a mixture of excitement and dread in his voice. The Guardians don't just show up for routine checks. This is a message. And it's loud and clear. Looks like we just crashed their party, Aisha muttered grimly. Tensions rise. The Guardians' flagship, a colossal vessel shaped like a crystalline spire pulsing with inner light, appeared on the main viewer. Its sleek, bioorganic hull shimmered with power and menace. The Guardian High Marshal's holographic envoy materialized on the bridge, a tall, gaunt figure draped in ceremonial armor. His eyes glowing an unearthly blue. Humans of the Vanguard, you trespass where you were not invited, the Marshal intoned, voice echoing with cold authority. The distress signal you pursued was a forbidden echo, an ancient trap designed to protect the galaxy's stability from threats like you. Elena's eyes flashed fire. We answer distress calls, not diplomatic warnings. Your silence has allowed injustice to fester. We demand answers. The Guardian's gaze was like a blade. The threats you speak of are purged for the greater good. Your reckless intrusion risks reigniting chaos long quelled. Aisha shot Elena a warning look. They're not bluffing. If we back down, the signal remains a mystery, and victims stay trapped. But if we fight, we risk open war. Elena's voice was firm, tinged with defiance. We don't run from the truth. Prepare for contingency protocols. Let them come. The first clash. The Guardians wasted no time. Without warning, Guardian warships fired an intense barrage of plasma beams and gravitic pulses, attempting to disable the Vanguard's engines and sensors. The bridge rocked violently. Aisha barked orders. Shields to maximum. Deploy countermeasures. Return fire selectively. Disable, don't destroy. We want to keep the message alive. Elena's mind raced. The Guardian's technology was superior. Biomechanical vessels with adaptive shields and weapons that bent spacetime to strike unpredictably. The Vanguard's modular tech, however, gave humans an edge in improvisation. Target their weapon arrays with ion disruptors. Use the environment. We know these space anomalies better, Elena commanded. The battle became a deadly chess match. The Vanguard darted through pockets of spatial distortion, using them as cover. Aisha's tactical brilliance shone as she predicted the Guardians' moves, exploiting their rigidity against their own technology. Suddenly, a Guardian drone slipped past defenses, attempting to plant a quantum mine on the ship's hull. Milo reacted fast, hacking into the drone's control link. I'm in. Redirecting it back to sender. The drone turned, crashing into the Guardian flagship with a thunderous explosion that rocked the enemy command vessel. Surprise and strategy. The Guardian Marshal's voice crackled with fury over comms. You defy order with reckless folly. Your unpredictability is your weakness, and your downfall. Elena smiled wryly. Unpredictability is human nature. You'll find we're full of surprises. Behind her, Milo continued scanning the distress signal, uncovering more layers hidden within. Captain, the signal isn't just a trap. It's a warning, and a call for help from a forgotten species. The Guardians are hiding a dark secret. Aisha's voice dropped. What are they so afraid of? Milo's eyes gleamed. The Zalari, an ancient civilization the Guardians imprisoned for defiance. The distress signal came from them. We might be the only chance they have. Elena's expression hardened. So the Guardians aren't just peacekeepers, they're jailers. The stakes had shifted. This was no longer a simple rescue or a political standoff. It was a challenge to the galaxy's very order. Crew dynamics and camaraderie. Amidst the tension, the Vanguard's crew held fast. Elena's leadership style, firm but with moments of humor and empathy, kept spirits high. In a rare lighter moment, Milo joked during a brief lull. I think the Guardians might be the galaxy's biggest control freaks. Isha smirked. And we're the unruly kids crashing their party. Elena chuckled quietly, appreciating the human resilience and camaraderie that sustained them against the growing threat. Remember, she told the bridge, we're not just fighting ships, we're fighting fear, oppression, and silence. Keep your heads. Stay sharp. Escalation and turning point. The Guardians regrouped for a coordinated strike, a focused assault aimed at overwhelming the Vanguard's shields and seizing control of the station. Elena ordered an audacious counterattack. Deploy the Ghost Swarm drones, the ones we adapted from salvage tech. Their AI can mimic Guardian signatures and disrupt their command network. Aisha's fingers flew, launching a swarm of tiny drones that slipped into the battle's chaos. They broadcast false orders, scrambled sensor data, and sowed confusion in the Guardian fleet. The Guardians faltered, their coordinated assault breaking down. Isha grinned. Looks like the Guardians aren't used to having their own tech turned against them. Elena seized the moment. Target the flagship's primary reactor. Ion torpedoes at full power. The Vanguard's attack hit home, causing a massive chain reaction that crippled the Guardian command ship systems and forced a retreat. Aftermath and uncertain future. As the Guardian fleet pulled back, the holocom flickered back to life. The Marshal's expression was grim but tinged with reluctant respect. Humans, you have shown resourcefulness. But the game is far from over. Cease your investigation, or face consequences beyond war. Elena met his gaze evenly. We won't stop until the truth is known and those trapped are freed. We don't fear consequences. The channel went dark. The bridge erupted in a mix of relief and apprehension. Milo broke the silence. We've poked a sleeping giant, Captain. Elena nodded slowly, resolve hardening like steel. Good. Let them be horrified by what arrives next. Emotional and thematic beats. This chapter intensifies the tension with a high-stakes standoff and explosive battle, emphasizing human ingenuity and tactical brilliance against a seemingly invincible enemy. The clash between human unpredictability and the Guardian's rigid order highlights classic HFY themes. Humor and camaraderie among the crew provide emotional depth and relief. The revelation of a dark secret, the imprisonment of the Zalari, raises moral questions about justice, authority, and freedom. World-building elements. The Guardians' bioorganic warships and rigid hierarchical culture contrasted with human modular adaptability. The use of drone swarms and hacking as human tactical strengths. Galactic politics illustrated by the Guardians' authoritarian grip and the Council's passive stance. The Zalari's implied tragic history seeds a larger conflict beyond this battle. Would you like me to proceed with Chapter 3 next? Or would you prefer scenes/dialogues or character focus for Chapter 2? The USS Vanguard drifted in a tense orbit around Altair Station's core, engines idling but ready. The aftermath of the Guardian fleet's retreat left the crew breathless but far from safe. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the bridge, her gaze sharp and unwavering. We've seen their power firsthand, she murmured, voice steady but low. But they fear something here. Whatever's buried beneath the surface, this secret could change everything. Diving deeper, Elena gathered her senior officers in the strategy room. The holographic map of Altair Station flickered above the table, overlaid with layers of sensor scans and decrypted data. Milo, what do we know about the Zalari and their imprisonment? Elena asked, eyes locking with the xenolinguist. Milo ran a hand through his hair, the weight of their discovery pressing on him. The Zalari were a highly advanced civilization, masters of biosynthetic technology and peacekeepers in their own right. They resisted the Guardians' authoritarian control, refusing to surrender their freedom. The Guardians labeled them rebels and imprisoned their entire species inside Altair Station, using the station itself as a living prison. Isha frowned. Trapped inside the station. For how long? Over 3 centuries, Milo replied. The distress signal we received was their desperate plea for rescue, hidden beneath layers of encryption and biological coding. Elena tapped her chin thoughtfully. So, this station isn't just a ruin. It's a tomb, and a prison. Worse, Milo said grimly. The station's biomechanical systems keep the Zalari alive but isolated, suspended between life and stasis. Into the heart of the prison. Determined to uncover the truth, Elena led a second boarding party, this time equipped with advanced biointerface gear designed to interface with the station's living systems. As they descended into the station's lower levels, the atmosphere grew heavier, charged with an almost palpable sadness. The living walls pulsed gently, responding to their presence as if sensing both intruders and potential saviors. Milo's fingers traced patterns on a glowing console. The station is symbiotic. It feeds on life energy to sustain itself, but it also traps its prisoners in a stasis field that slows time around them. The corridors opened into vast chambers filled with pods, each one a shimmering cocoon enclosing a faintly glowing figure, Zalari suspended in a state between life and death. Elena's voice caught in her throat. They're alive but trapped. A message from the past. Suddenly, the room dimmed, and a hollow projection flickered to life. A Zalari elder appeared, her translucent form radiating wisdom and sorrow. You who hear our cry, the elder's voice echoed softly. We are the Zalari, prisoners of the Guardian's tyranny. We were custodians of peace, cast into this living prison for defying the order imposed upon us. Our fate is intertwined with the fate of the galaxy. If you can free us, you must also confront the lies that bind the Guardians. The projection ended, leaving a silence thick with urgency. Elena swallowed hard. We can't just rescue them. We have to expose the truth. Aisha's expression hardened. But the Guardians won't let that happen without a fight. Uncovering the dark truth. Back on the Vanguard, Milo worked furiously to access hidden archives within the station systems. The more he uncovered, the more chilling the story became. The Zalari had once been allies with the Guardians, partners in maintaining galactic order. But their philosophy diverged. The Zalari believed in balance and freedom, while the Guardians sought absolute control. When the Zalari resisted, the Guardians branded them terrorists and used the station's biomechanical prison to silence them indefinitely. This is more than politics, Milo said, voice heavy. It's a crime against an entire species. Elena's eyes burned with resolve. We have to dismantle their prison. If we succeed, it could ignite a revolution. Rising stakes. Suddenly, the station's alarm systems flared. The Guardians were sending reinforcements, a massive task force bent on erasing all traces of the Zalari rebellion. The Vanguard's crew scrambled to prepare for what now looked like an all-out siege. Aisha rallied the tactical team. We're outnumbered, but we have home advantage, and the station's living systems. We'll use the station itself as a weapon. Elena nodded. We're not just fighting for survival. We're fighting for freedom, for every species oppressed by tyranny. Human ingenuity at work. With Milo's help, Elena coordinated an audacious plan. The crew would interface with the station's biomechanical heart, attempting to awaken and rally the Zalari's latent consciousness and turn the station's systems against the Guardians. In the nerve center, Milo connected to the station's core. If I can override the stasis field, the Zalari might awaken, but it will be dangerous. The station could reject us. Elena clasped his shoulder. We're human. We thrive in danger. As Milo initiated the override, the station shuddered violently, walls pulsating wildly. A symphony of alien sounds filled the air, a chorus of voices long silenced, rising once again. Emotional depth and camaraderie. In the tension-filled control room, the crew's nerves frayed. Elena looked around at her team, Aisha, Milo, and the others, each facing the unknown with grit and solidarity. You're not just fighting for them, Elena said quietly. You're fighting for us. All of humanity's hope to be a force for good in this galaxy. Milo's fingers danced over the console, sweat on his brow. Almost there. The stasis field is weakening. Suddenly, a burst of light flooded the chamber. Figures began to stir in the pods, awakening from centuries of imprisonment. The awakening. The Zalari emerged. Tall, graceful beings with skin shimmering like living metal and eyes glowing with ancient wisdom. Their leader, the elder from the hollow message, stepped forward. "We owe you our lives," she said softly, voice carrying the weight of centuries. "But our liberation will mean war." Elena nodded. "Then we fight, not just to survive but to change the galaxy." The Vanguard's crew prepared for the battle ahead, united by a cause larger than themselves. Chapter 3 Summary. The crew discovers the true nature of Altair Station as a biomechanical prison holding the Zalari species captive. Through exploration and technology, they awaken the imprisoned Zalari, revealing the Guardian's dark secret of tyranny and oppression. The crew faces the imminent arrival of a Guardian task force, raising stakes for an epic confrontation. Themes of freedom versus control, justice, and resistance against authoritarian rule deepen. Human ingenuity and camaraderie shine as the crew interfaces with alien technology to awaken allies. Key character developments. Elena grows into her role as a leader willing to challenge galactic powers for justice. Milo's intellectual curiosity turns to fierce determination and emotional investment in the Zalari's fate. Aisha's tactical pragmatism broadens to embrace the moral stakes, showing vulnerability beneath her tough exterior. Major conflicts and turning points. Discovery of the Zalari imprisonment and the Guardian's betrayal. Activation of the station's core systems to awaken the Zalari, risking destruction or rejection. Imminent Guardian reinforcements set the stage for a climactic battle. Emotional and thematic beats. Awe at alien biotechnology and ancient civilizations. Tension and hope as the imprisoned Zalari awaken. Themes of sacrifice, freedom, and the cost of defiance. Strength found in unity, trust, and the human spirit's refusal to submit. Would you like me to continue with Chapter 4 next, the climactic conclusion? Or explore specific character moments or world-building details from this chapter? The vastness of space outside Altair Station was no longer silent. Guardian reinforcements had arrived, a formidable armada of biomechanical dreadnoughts and relentless assault ships, converging on the station like a storm of inevitability. The USS Vanguard and its newly awakened Zalari allies faced annihilation, or victory. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the bridge, eyes steely but heart racing. Around her, the crew moved with disciplined urgency, the air thick with adrenaline and hope. The calm before the storm. Elena addressed her crew in the main command chamber, their faces illuminated by the hollow map of the incoming Guardian fleet. "This is it," she said. "We're outnumbered and outgunned. But we're not alone anymore. The Zalari have awakened, and their knowledge of this station's living systems is our greatest weapon." Milo Chen stepped forward, holding a datapad filled with tactical overlays. "We can manipulate the station's biomechanical matrix to disrupt the Guardian fleet's communication and coordination. It'll be a complex hack, but it could level the playing field." Lieutenant Aisha Karim tightened her grip on the rail. "And our swarm drones. We'll deploy them in full force, confusing and disabling their targeting systems." Elena nodded. "Good. Remember, this fight isn't just about survival. It's about exposing the Guardian's tyranny to the galaxy and freeing those they've oppressed." The battle begins. The Guardian armada erupted into coordinated attack. Plasma lances and gravitic pulses tore through space as the Vanguard and the Zalari forces darted through the station's outer rings. The station itself seemed to awaken, responding to the Zalari's touch. Massive biotendril structures sprouted from the hull, reaching into space like living weapons, lashing at the enemy ships. Elena's voice rang through the comms. "Hold formation. Shield generators online. Target the enemy's command ships with ion disruptors." The Guardian's technology was advanced, but the combined ingenuity of humans and Zalari was unpredictable. The swarm drones swarmed enemy sensors, cloaking the Vanguard and creating false targets that drew the Guardian's fire. Milo's voice crackled urgently. "I'm breaching their comm relays now. disrupting their fleet coordination. The Guardians faltered, their tightly controlled fleet devolving into chaotic skirmishes. The turning point. Amid the chaos, the Guardian High Marshal appeared again on the Vanguard's comms, his image flickering with rage. "You insolent humans! Your interference threatens galactic order. Cease this rebellion or face total destruction." Elena stepped forward, unwavering. "Your order is oppression. The galaxy deserves freedom. We won't bow to tyranny." The Marshal snarled, and with a gesture, a massive Guardian dreadnought, a biomechanical colossus, detached from the fleet and surged toward the station's core, intent on obliterating the prison and everyone inside. A desperate gamble. Elena made a split-second decision. "Milo, can we use the station's core to create a feedback pulse strong enough to disable that dreadnought?" Milo's fingers flew over the console. "It's risky. The energy release could destabilize the entire station." "I don't care. It's now or never," Elena said fiercely. Aisha gathered the tactical teams. "Protect Milo at all costs. We buy him time." As Milo interfaced with the core, the station pulsed with increasing intensity. The Zalari channeled their bioenergy, amplifying the station's power. Enemy ships converged on the Vanguard to stop them, but the crew's tactical brilliance and the Zalari's intimate knowledge of the station held the line. The pulse and aftermath. With a surge of light and sound, the station unleashed a devastating bioelectric pulse. The dreadnought's massive hull shimmered and crackled as systems overloaded, and it spiraled out of control, crashing into a nearby asteroid field. The Guardian fleet, thrown into disarray, began a tactical retreat. Elena exhaled, exhaustion and triumph mingling in her chest. Milo slumped back, sweat dripping. "We did it, but the station's unstable." Victory and truth. With the immediate threat quelled, Elena contacted the Galactic Council via secure channels. Using data recovered from the station's archives and first-hand accounts from the awakened Zalari, she broadcasted a damning revelation. The Guardians had imprisoned an entire civilization to maintain authoritarian control under the guise of peacekeeping. The broadcast shook the galaxy. Many systems, long complacent under Guardian rule, began to question their authority. Resolution and hope. On the Vanguard, the Zalari leader approached Elena, gratitude and hope shining in her eyes. "You have freed us not only from physical chains but from silence and fear. Together we can build a new future, one where freedom and cooperation reign." Elena smiled, weary but resolute. "That future starts now." Epilogue. A galaxy changed. News spread of the Zalari's liberation and the Vanguard's defiance. The Guardian's grip weakened as more species demanded freedom. Humanity's boldness and ingenuity had sparked a revolution. Elena stood on the bridge watching the stars. A new chapter for the galaxy was dawning, and humanity was ready. Chapter 4 Summary. The climactic battle between the Vanguard, now allied with the Zalari, and the Guardian Armada unfolds with high-stakes space combat and biomechanical warfare. The crew uses human tactical ingenuity and Zalari biotech to disrupt and ultimately defeat the Guardian fleet's flagship dreadnought. Captain Elena leads a broadcast exposing the Guardian's crimes, inspiring a galactic movement against oppression. Themes of freedom, justice, resilience, and hope culminate in a satisfying HFY conclusion emphasizing humanity's role as catalysts for change. Key character developments. Elena fully embraces her role as a fearless leader and symbol of resistance. Milo's technical genius proves crucial in a critical moment, highlighting human adaptability. Aisha's tactical acumen and loyalty shine in fierce defense of the crew and allies. The Zalari transition from prisoners to partners in a shared vision for freedom. Emotional and thematic beats. Awe and tension during the massive space battle. The risk and sacrifice involved in challenging a powerful authoritarian force. Triumph in unity and courage despite overwhelming odds. Hope for a new era built on cooperation and freedom. Would you like me to help with a polished final draft, dialogue scenes, or character-focused moments next?